Forge fans, Anthony Urciuoli here. It's the match day preview. You're thinking, we've already heard a match day preview this week on the Forge Audio Network, Anthony. I know, but we have two matches this week, both at home. Forge coming off a 2-0 win over Outremont in the Canadian Championship preliminary round. That was Wednesday night. Next up, they play Atlético Ottawa Saturday, 4 o'clock, in a big domestic league matchup for both sides. Atletico coming off a loss in the Canadian Championship preliminaries against York United. Now, the official scoreline is 8-7 in favor of York. That was in penalties, so those are counted toward the final goal total. But either way, York winning in penalties, advancing, Atletico eliminated, and they're also coming off a loss in domestic play against Pacific last Saturday, where they lost 1-0. Now, Forge FC went with a different look in the Canadian Championship match. Now, Coach Bobby Smirniotis said he was going to leave his starting lineup mostly intact. They weren't treating this as some, one-off game that they wouldn't be, as, let's say, determined to win, so to speak. They went in and they played to win. I mean, they played for the 3 points. They played their starters, and they went with a different look than we've been used to this season. And even over the course of the last couple of years, Tristan Borges, who's been in more of an attacking role throughout his career with Forge, played more of a number 10 role in the middle. They went with two strikers, Emery Welshman, Taryn Campbell, both on the pitch in that win. So that was a different look for them. And not that I expect that to carry over into this match against Ottawa. I think that was very game situational, that they saw something they could maybe exploit with that lineup. But I did catch up with Coach Bobby, and we talked about some of the changes in that lineup we saw.
Yeah, Borges playing in that more of a 10 spot yesterday. Is that something you see continuing? Is there something specific about his skill set that you think kind of brings it up more in that position?
Yeah, I think with him, it's a player who we like to move around the pitch, depending on the opponent, depending on tactical things that we want to work on. And I think that's the one thing that he brings to the field. He's not stuck to one side of the field. He can play on the left, he can play on the right, and he can play inside in the 10. And he's had success in each one of those positions. So I think that's something we'll see, gradually with him moving around in different parts of the season based on what we want and the personnel we're using.
Ideally, do you want to have Campbell and Welshman both on the pitch?
Ideally, I want 3 points. I want lots of goals. I want a lot of good things. It all depends. It depends on the situation. Yesterday, we wanted to do something a little bit different to an opponent that's usually used to standard situations. And when I talk about that, is playing a classic 4-3-3 or 4-4-2 in their league. This was a different setup that they would see that maybe they're not used to. So, we look at that every game and with every opponent.
The two guys, what differences? What different skill sets does each guy bring to the lineup?
Yeah, I think when you look at Taryn, I think he's a fox in the box. The ball gets in there and he's always on it, and he's got an excellent strike rate to goal. And then Emery brings a lot of verticality to his play. Ability to be physical and to get in behind opponents and really instill some fear in the defenders who are getting him. And then that a lot of times opens up pockets for other players. So I think they bring something distinctly different to what they do, and they've both done a great job last night.
Now, Tristan Borges is a guy that's comfortable in any role he's going to be put in. But I did have a talk with him after training this week and asked him about playing that number 10 role at the pro level.
It's difficult to really say in terms of range. I like to kind of look at myself and be a little bit more versatile. That's one thing that I always try to work on. But obviously just being a little bit more comfortable, that's one thing I can say, is just because I've been playing that since I was a young kid. But as you get older, you start to learn to possibly play other positions. But for me, as long as I'm on the field, it's the most important.
Yeah, what's different just in terms of your approach to playing? Responsibility is a little bit different. So how does it differ from where you were playing earlier?
I think it's just understanding the role. Also, there's a lot of tactics going into each game, however the opponent is going to play, right? So we do a lot of work on that, but just me individually understanding the difference with playing wing or playing in the midfield and understanding that role, I think that's important, and I think that's based on me trying to do work to understand what I need to do. So for me, it's just every game looking at where I could be played and trying to do the work to understand what I need to do there.
And back to that double striker look that Forge put out there. Emery Welshman, Taryn Campbell on the field together, and I caught up with Welshman And here's what he had to say about playing alongside Campbell.
I mean, it only benefits the team. Two players that are hungry to get forward and look to score goals, create goals, and cause problems for the defense. I enjoy playing with two strikers, especially with a striker that as good as Terrence. So the more that we could get a relationship together on the field, the better for the team, I think.
How did it feel just to get out there after watching for a couple of weeks?
Felt really good. It's the most minutes I've had since the final last year, so it's going to take a little while to get back to full fitness, but really glad to be out there and help the team.
Now, Forge has wanted to get their attack going, more consistency, more high-quality chances, and that's partially why they did go with a full lineup in that Canadian Championship match against Outremont. They want to get some guys going here. Campbell scored in that match. Passius scored in that match. Borges played a central 10 role. They're just looking to get guys going in that final third, get a little more creativity, connect on some of those plays, and to finish their chances as well. And when you look at the numbers, it looks like there is a huge opportunity here for Forge to get rolling. Atlético Ottawa, they have the second worst goal differential, only behind Edmonton. They're at -4 through 5 matches. They have the second highest goals against in through 5 matches. They've given up 9. So again, only Edmonton's given up more. So it looks like there's an opportunity there. And here's what Coach Bobby had to say about his opponent this weekend.
Yeah, it's a good team. It's a team that's done well in their first games of the season. You know, with mixed results, but a team that's become very good defensively. They know what they want on the field. They keep very good shape, and I think it's going to be a very interesting match on Saturday.
Is it ever too soon to look at the standings and where you sit?
It's something I never look at. You know, from each year, it's the most important thing is what we do in our games. You know, this is a league that's based on the playoff format. 4 teams qualify for the playoffs, and when you get there, nobody remembers who finished first, who finished fourth. We've seen that over last year as well. So the most important thing for us is just getting into a groove of things, trying to collect the points where we need them, and then we move from there.
Yeah, and Forge is looking for more consistency in their attack. Talking to Tristan Borges this week, he mentioned that there's a lot of untapped potential that Forge hasn't quite hit yet.
I think there's a lot more, to be honest. I think us as a team, we know we can be doing more. I think in the final third, I think we're playing well. We're putting in the work. You know, the obviously we get to see the stats at the end of the game in terms of shots or even kilometers and distance from the players. But I think there's still a lot of the players that want to be on the score sheet or want to consistently get the assist or the goal, or just to kind of have that sharpness back. I think for me individually, that sharpness is to be there a little bit more. But I think it's on the right track right now.
All right, a big 3 points up for grabs. Forge doesn't like looking at the standings, and Coach Bobby says he never looks at the standings. The players will repeat that. We're going to look at the standings because that's what we're here to do. Let's just put it this way. With 3 points, Forge can move into the top 4, which would be a playoff spot. I know it's early, and there's a lot of soccer to be played, but I don't think it's ever too early to start looking at the standings, especially when things haven't quite gone your way. But if you're Forge, you're looking at this and going, you know what? We haven't played well. We're not happy with our game necessarily, at least on a consistent level. And we're only 3 points out of a playoff spot. I mean, the reality is there's so much soccer to be played, and Forge has a fantastic opportunity at home Saturday, 4 o'clock, against Atlético Ottawa, who looks at least beatable and at least susceptible to giving up some goals. And so that's good news for Forge and for the fans. Tickets still available. Don't forget, if you are going to the match, number 1, tickets are all digital. Number 2, get there early. $5 beers before kickoff. So you want to take advantage of that as well. All right, stage is set. Tim Hortons Field, 4 o'clock in Hamilton. Forge FC hosting Atlético Ottawa in domestic play. I'll be there, and I want to see you there.
We are the Forge, the mighty, mighty Forge.